Thank you. All right, guys. So I know.
I'll introduce you here.
Okay, perfect.
We have Rebecka Szarzynski from Fairfield, Virginia. She farm owner and operator and mentor coordinator of Mountain Glen Farms and Virginia Forage and Grassland Council. Becky is a Virginia native, grew up in the family farm raising Angus beef cattle, leaving the university early to pursue a life in agriculture. She started exploring new farming techniques that would allow her to revive the land and grow the family farm. So let's welcome Rebecka.
All right, thanks guys. Sorry for the delay there, but as he said, my name is Rebecka Szarzynski, and I'm here on behalf of the Virginia Forage and Grassland Council, specifically as their mentor program coordinator. And before I jump into this and play this video that I kind of did a production of our mentors and mentees, I just want to give a quick background on myself and kind of how I relate to this program today. So like I was introduced, first and foremost, I am a producer. My father and I co-own and operate Mountain Glen Farm in Virginia. And anyone who works with their family knows that's a blessing and a frustration in itself, but we've been doing it for my entire life. We raise a breed of cattle named South Pole. That's for their grass-based efficiencies, and we've been doing that for about 14, 15 years ago. And about 14, 15 years ago was when I kind of made a pivotal point in my life. And so just to give away my age, I was 19 and I had been attending a 4-year college, and I'd been through 3 semesters and I hated every second of it. I was completely miserable, and so I had told my parents, I said, please let me come home and try something different. Gotta try something different. It's just not working out for me. So I remember sitting down at a dinner with them when I'd come home for summer break, and I'd wore them down for like a year and a half at this point. And so they said, okay, if you come home, what are you gonna do? I said, well, I think I wanna pursue a career in agriculture. And they said, no, sweet dear baby girl, that is not an option. You can only come home after you graduate. And so again, they said, what are you gonna do if you come home? I said, I wanna come home and farm. I wanna take our farming operation and I wanna elevate it, take it to the next level, make it profitable, make it my living. And they still said no. They were like, we work off the farm full-time jobs so that we get to farm. So this really isn't an option. Anyways, I wore them down to the point where they said, fine, come home. And I started farming full-time with a bunch of part-time jobs on the side as well. And so over the next 14 years, it was essentially just me learning. We had been conventional farming, but I wanted to do something different. So we started doing rotational grazing. We started the infrastructure on our farm to implement rotational grazing more successfully. We were going to conferences, workshops, classes, lectures, YouTube, books. We were just, trying to eat as much knowledge as we could on sustainable grazing, grassland agriculture. And during that time, I think the main way that I learned was essentially by trial and error. There was a lot of things that I tried over the years that it was a crash and burn situation, and it was frustrating, it was time consuming, it was expensive, but that's essentially the way that I ended up learning a lot of the farming practices that I know today. And so we were blazing this trail, right or wrong, we were just blazing forward with what we knew and what we thought would be good. So essentially, about a year and a half ago, when I was approached by VFGC to be the mentor coordinator for the Farmer to Farmer Mentor program, it really spoke deeply to me because, like I said, over the last 14, 15 years, I have been doing lots of learning on our farming operation with trial and error, and what I would have given to actually have had a mentor to help guide and support me through this time. And that is essentially what this program is all about. It's kind of a dream job of mine, I have to say, where I get to connect farmers with farmers. And what we get to do is that I find experienced grazers, so grazers who have been doing these prescribed grazing, rotational grazing practices on their farm for years and been doing it successfully. Soil health practices are one of their main focuses, and pairing them up within their locality with new farmers who are just starting on their grazing journey. So some of the mentees this year literally have just purchased the farm within the last 6 months, and they like, okay, I have 50 acres. I know I want to do, a lot of them say, I want to do the Joel Salatin thing. I'm like, okay, so that's like the prescribed grazing thing. They say, I want to do that. I don't know where to start. Like, what equipment do I need? What kind of animals should I put out there? What are these forages? Like, they're completely new. They're green. To some of our mentees who actually have been doing it, they have 200 acres. They've been doing more of the conventional, traditional way of grazing, more continuous grazing over the years, and it's not working for them anymore. And they want to pivot. They want to go down a different path. And so I get to pair these mentors who are within the same location as the mentees to make that formulation of that relationship a little easier, and get to pair them up so that that new mentee farmer has someone to help learn the ropes with them. So they get to help someone to help them guide and navigate these new ropes with the whole world of prescribed grazing. Because a lot of these mentors have been over the hurdles, they know the hardships, they know what the expense is, and they can help them in this process. And essentially what we're trying to do is most of my mentees who want to be in this program or were in this program this year really just want a sounding board. They want someone who they can just reach out to. They might have a couple of questions, they might have some ideas, just someone that they can make accessible to them. And that's essentially what we're trying to do here. So just to give you a little bit of background into what some of the mentor and mentee relationship might look like, I get to pair them up, and at that point they get to visit each other's farms. So they get to go to the mentor's farm, see their farm, see how it's set up, what infrastructure they have, what kind of prescribed grazing practices and principles are they implementing, and then they get to go to the mentee's farm. And one of the things I had a lot of them do this year was do a farm inventory. So how many acres you have, what kind of water sources do you have fence, what kind of ground, what kind of soil types, and also the most important thing I think I had them do this year was sit down and write down their farm goals and objectives so that they had someone specifically to them who knew their operation, knew that person personally, that they could discuss these with. They took soil samples. We did larger group connections where we're not just pairing mentee and mentor, but we're also coming together as a larger group. So the larger group that this year got to come together, they came to my farm. We had a grass-fed beef cookout. We had our state agronomists come and do, we actually moved the cattle and dug up some soil and did a soil health discussion as well. So it's essentially, how can we come together, lend support, lend guidance, and just really have that relationship formed for the next generations to come as well. So I do have a video I put together of some of the participants this year. I didn't get them all, but some of them that were in this program, and they kind of talk about their thoughts and experiences with the program this year. So I'm just going to play that, and hopefully it works.
Even though a lot of the practices that we do for soil health reach far beyond the farm borders, it starts here on the farm. And the robustness and the integrity of our soils needs to start here. So some of the practices that we can do are like using livestock to manage our grasslands and using certain grazing strategies to ultimately increase and promote soil health. One of the main focuses of the Virginia Forage and Grassland Council is to educate and promote grassland agriculture while encouraging conservation of our soils and water. So this is why VFGC launched a farmer-to-farmer mentor program that was started to help new livestock grazers get paired with experienced grazers in their area to help lend support and guidance to the beginner farmer while they start down the path of prescribed grazing and soil health practices. Why did you want to participate in this program?
I wanted to be a mentee because I thought it would be helpful for me to have someone to talk to that has experience, in doing the path that I'm taking with our farm. So that was really helpful for me to actually have somebody that I could talk to about what I'm seeing out in the field. Because I needed help. And I didn't know where to start. And it just kind of fell into place. You guys are our neighbors. You were able to come over and help us right from the get-go. And it was just like, yeah, why wouldn't we want to be part of this program? Why wouldn't we want to utilize the help of people in our community and our neighbors? It's an amazing program. I'm really surprised that it existed. I had never heard of anything like this or expected it.
And so the mentorship program for me is helped quite a bit. I've really enjoyed working with Rick, and it's quite inspiring to see, it's a breath of fresh air. I think sometimes as a producer, and you can sometimes get set in your ways, or you can become overwhelmed with everything, but seeing a new operation get started, there's a lot of energy, and so it's been really refreshing.
So initially I was asked to be the mentor program coordinator of this wonderful VFGC program, and I've been having a great time doing that. But then as the program actually started to roll and get put into place, I started realizing that there were a couple of farmers around me who were kind of wanting a little bit of guidance and support. And so I thought it would be great to step in and be a mentor to my new neighbors here. And been really happy to help them out in any way possible and just bring them out onto our farm. That's initially how we first met, and show them what we were doing, show them the rotations we were doing with the cattle, show them the cattle that we have, show them our infrastructure, how we have it set up and why we have it set up that way, and discuss soil health practices and principles. And because you guys are just literally like a quarter mile down the road from me, we all are kind of sharing the same space and getting to know one another, and building that community, building our fellow farmer community, I think is super important, and been having a really great time doing that so far.
How is the peer-to-peer style of learning beneficial for your needs as a farmer?
The one-on-one mentor type program that VFGC is offering is very conducive, because while we're blessed to have an opportunity to go to a lot of field days and conferences, sometimes you just want to ask questions about your place, and this is a real opportunity for us to go hands-on with your property on that day with your animals, and that's what every farmer has to do every day. And to be able to give someone who's just starting out the opportunity to have those resources, both as a mentor or bringing in other resources, is very important.
The reason that this type of learning style is so impactful for my husband and myself, and I feel for most people, is I'm a teacher, and it's hands-on. You're doing it. You're talking about it while you're doing it. You're able to ask immediate questions that you can take that feedback and put it into practice. Whereas if you're sitting on your couch watching a video or reading a book late at night, you have to hope that that specific scenario presents itself tomorrow or in the near future before you forget what you just read or learned. Whereas this is active real time. And so it's for me the best way to put into practice what I'm learning. Being as part of this has been really helpful, because going to other farms, I'm seeing what other people are doing, but it might not be in my direct region, and have someone local to my area has been really helpful to learn of what we're doing and how we can improve in our area.
So you're already steps ahead instead of trying to do it on your own. I mean, you can watch video after video, but when you have boots on the ground, literally like we're here, that's a heck of a lot, easier to get something done and done the right way. And, be local, who can help you. Different people can help you right then and there. I'll come over and take a look. What are you going to try today? Well, let's do this. Well, plant this, but do it this way. So, almost like it's if you do it on yourself, I think you're going to run into a lot of potholes where, being part of this group, they're already filling the potholes before you even approach them. So it just makes things a lot smoother, I think, going forward.
So personally, as a mentor in this program, I feel like not only am I helping pass and share my experience and skills that I've gained over the course of a decade or two or three, but it's one thing in our minds is that we never stop learning. And so by being a mentor in this program, I'm learning from her as well. Just some of the questions she'll ask me, maybe I have to go and research them because maybe I don't really know and I need to go find out. And so I'm learning with her, but at the same time, it's like Mother Nature is going to keep you humble. My dad always says that. Natural resources will keep you humble. So we're always going to be learning. We will never stop learning. That's just part of farming this type of style, and that's, I think, a beautiful thing, and that's why it's fun to be part of these programs too.
What have you gained by participating in this program?
I would say it's creating the base of my knowledge and the base that I'll take forever with me. I didn't have any information. I had never done any grazing or rotational grazing or pasture health or soil health. I didn't know anything about it. So what I'm learning through this program is really giving me the knowledge and the base to build upon for years to come.
I feel like the mentor program has helped me confirm what I'm seeing out in the field, and having someone that's accessible to be able to come out and take a look at the property and just confirm some of the things that I'm seeing. So that's been really helpful for me.
What is your overall experience with the program?
I don't know why you wouldn't want to do it. It's without this program, we wouldn't probably have a rotational plan in place. We wouldn't be thinking about waterers and the ground around the water, all the things that you bring to my attention. So it's really been helpful, and it hasn't cost us anything or hurt us in any way. It's only benefited us.
I think we're going to stay together quite a long time as far as that relationship. And, I might meet somebody and say, oh, well, I guess you're going to do another program after this. I might see somebody starting and say, you need to contact this gentleman, just like JB had told me, and put me in contact with Jacob. So, I only found this program through JB, talking to him about cows. And when I explained to him where I'm moving, he says, you need to call this gentleman and try and get in that last 1 or 2 slots that they had left, and thank goodness I did.
My experience with the VFGC mentor program has been great. I feel like I now have someone that's accessible to, I've known of Buck before this, but like to actually have somebody to reach out to that I know, it's like it got the ball rolling as far as reaching out to someone, because sometimes, you might not feel like you can just reach out to somebody and start that conversation, but now I feel like I have a resource that I can continue to, ask questions and things like that.
And, for me, this has absolutely been a benefit. I believe that we're starting a core that ultimately these mentees, this year and another year, 2 years, 3 years are going to be the mentors for the next generation, because truly that's where our learning is going to multiply is by creating layers to the organization of farmers helping farmers.
Priceless relationships are formed and invaluable knowledge is exchanged in peer-to-peer programs like these. For more information or questions about the VFGC Farmer to Farmer Mentor Program, please contact Rebecka Szarzynski.
All right, so that was just a good overview, I think, of the some of the experiences this year that a few of the participants had. Obviously, you can tell that I think a lot of them just feel better at knowing that they have someone that they can use as a sounding board, ask questions to, reach out to, whether it be in person or email or text. And so I think that creating those relationships so that in the future they can take those into the future with their farming operations, and also help share their experience with others. And that's my email if you guys have any questions or want to reach out, but I think we'll open it up to a couple questions now. Mm-hmm.
Do you compensate the mentors?
Yes, so in this program we do compensate the mentors for their mileage and their time. So if they have one mentee, they get designated a certain amount of money. If they get 2, multiply that by 2, just to kind of help them A lot of them don't want the money. A lot of them don't care about the money. I don't think anyone's doing it for the money, but yes, just to compensate them for their expenses and time and that kind of thing, they do get compensated. Yep. And, yep.
Who puts value on the time?
Who puts value on the time?
Who decides what the value is?
For the compensation, or so we are funded through a grant with NIFWIF, and so when we ended up writing this grant, actually our state agronomist helped write this grant for this program specifically with VFGC. I'm not sure exactly how they came up with the specific number for the compensation of their time and value. We're a less intense model of a mentor program. We're not, I know some other models are almost like a part-time job. This one's a little more relaxed, where they might see each other in person once a month maybe, but then they also follow up throughout the month with text, email, calls, and that kind of thing. So I didn't come up with that number, so I can't tell you specifically, but it is grant funded, and so yeah, that was written into the grant originally.
I was just wondering whether each mentor said, I'll do it for this much, or I'll do it for $25 more.
Yeah, we came out with the compensation price outright, and they agreed to it, and yeah.
And it's a straight stipend, it's not a per hour basis.
Correct. Yes, set amount for the year. Mm-hmm.
Is it magical that you're not telling me?
No, it's $1,000 a month, a year for the mentors, and it's a whole year term, 12 months as your mentor agreement, and I don't think it comes anywhere close to compensating for the amount of time. But again, a lot of these mentors aren't doing it for the money; they're just doing it to help their fellow farmers and that kind of thing.
And is there a guideline, a contract for mentors that you have?
There's a mentor agreement it's about a page long, simply saying that they agree to this term to help their mentee out. We have a list of activities that we suggest that they can do throughout the year. I'm not saying that they have to complete each and every task, but this is a good general guideline for them, for some things to go over. There's an indemnification clause in there just to help on that term. And yeah, so there's a one-pager agreement that we have for them.
Do these mentors just work with one person at a time?
We actually have, one of my mentors is in the back here. He has 2 mentees. I was a mentor as well this year, and I had 2 mentees. So it just depends on the person, what they feel like they can accommodate in their lives. Because everyone's, in this program, everyone's at a different level. We've got 20-year-olds, we got 6-year-olds, we got anywhere in between, mothers of 3, guys just starting out. So everyone's at a different place, and we understand that, and that's great. So yeah. All right.
Okay, well, thank you, Becky.
Thank you guys. Really appreciate it.